Hello and welcome, Mark Homer here. Now, I'm a little bit confused. I've been told for a number of years that I should get an electric car. And lots of people have gone out and bought one, and there's obviously lots of chatter about it. But I can't see a single reason other than benefit in kind tax for actually having an electric car. Let me talk about this further. Let's just sort of deal with the environmental issues initially. Lots of people, certainly the wokists and those that are interested in saving the planet, are proponents of electric cars. But I know there are more reports and more research that has been conducted into the full life cycle and impact of electric cars on the environment through their whole life cycle. If you start at the beginning, something like 50 times the weight of the actual battery has to come out of the ground. Various countries, South America often, precious metals, cobalt, all of these things that have to come out of the ground have an environmental effect. In addition, when the battery gets decommissioned, that has quite a significant negative effect on the environment. There are significant particulates that come off of the tyres from electric cars due to the extra weight because of the battery. That is usually not taken into consideration. So in terms of the full environmental life cycle, and that's sort of ignoring where the electricity is actually coming from, because something like 60% of the electricity in this country is generated through fossil fuels, so you're actually burning gas or some coal or other types of fossil fuel to generate something like 60% of the electricity that comes through the grid in this country. If you look at the whole life cycle of these electric cars, I don't think they are beneficial to the environment. There probably is a benefit in towns and cities because electric cars aren't pumping out noxious fumes which people are breathing in. So, okay, there's probably a benefit in that, along with the benefit in kind tax. But environmentally, certainly the medium and large size ones are probably worse. In terms of the cost of buying an electric car, it's far higher than a standard petrol or diesel car. I think most people will accept that. As of a few weeks ago, now that the cost of electricity has tripled, the cost of charging an electric car is now more than an average size petrol car. Now petrol's something like £1.50 a litre, so it's no cheaper. Road tax is going to be charged on electric cars before too long, and there's going to be a charging mechanism to make up for the fact that you're not paying all this fuel duty on the electricity that you're putting into the car. In addition to that, after a number of years, the batteries tend to go wrong and need replacing. I've just heard a story this morning about a Tesla from 2014 that needed a battery replacement that cost £20,000. So I'm really confused as to why at the moment, and I'm not saying in the future when the technology has moved on a bit, but I'm really confused why at the moment people are even interested in electric cars. The infrastructure's not there to charge them. The range is not there. There's huge sort of range anxiety with most models. I know some people will say, there are some models that will have got the same range as petrol cars, but that'll fade over time. And the majority of models, I'm talking to someone this morning who's got a Taycan, can't even get 200 miles out of it, which to me is not really usable. So at the moment, I'm just very, very confused as to what benefit, other than, okay, if you've got a limited company and you want to run a car through the limited company, there are benefit in kind tax breaks for running an electric car, but you could have an LLP or a partnership or a sole trader, and you can run a petrol or diesel car through that in the same way without the benefit in kind issues. So I don't see that as a major advantage. The only thing you're left with is better air quality in towns and cities, which is a benefit. But on balance, with the extra cost to the environment of running medium to large size electric cars, you know, the range anxiety, the issues with the batteries, the extra cost of charging and purchasing. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I can see why the wokists and the virtue signalers want the sort of latest thing to hook onto, to sort of drive around and let everybody see that they're sort of you know, more virtuous. I can see why they might want to purchase something like this, but I just think their arguments are largely flawed. Okay, so we've got this great property report. If you just go down below and click the link, it'll come straight down to you. Go download it now. And for me, the biggest thing about cars, especially, you know, cars I really want to own, is, you know, how they look and how they sound. And electric cars, as far as I can see, there are very, very few. In fact, I'm not sure I can even think of one that I like the look of. I love Porsches. I think Porsches are fantastic cars. I don't think the Taycan looks good. I don't like it. And it just seems to me that almost all of the electric cars that have come out, the manufacturers have almost done something to make them look more aerodynamic or whatever it is that seems to ruin the shape of them. And in terms of the sound, I know there's synthesized sounds, but I haven't found an electric car that sounds very good either. So even more reason to dislike electric cars. And just to touch on the 2030 line in the sand that Boris drew, saying there'll be no more petrol and diesel cars produced after that point. Where is all this electricity going to come from, and where is the infrastructure going to come from? Are the government suddenly going to spend a load of money to put this electric charging infrastructure in that isn't present currently? Because a little bit like the house building targets, it just doesn't feel like they're going to get anywhere near. And that 2030, whilst it's a sort of laudable goal, if you believe electric cars are more environmentally friendly, and I don't believe they are at the moment. Maybe they will be in the future, but at the moment, I don't think they are. Maybe it pushes big manufacturers to tool up and spend all the R&D and actually get producing these electric cars. You know, is there going to be a ban in 2030? It's looking increasingly unlikely. So if you want to get started in property, want to get started in business and make that money you have always desired to give yourself financial freedom, go down, click the link and get the report. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to watch another video, you can watch it here. I've been Mark Homer, over and out.